Thank you so much, Dan. Yeah, what an atmosphere it's been on this beautiful balmy night here in Valencia, and Hansi Flick's men getting off on the right foot. A 2-1 win, Lewandowski with both of the goals, Luis Garcia. They can't really ask for much more for a starting game at this stadium as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they can ask. Of course they can ask, but it's not easy. Arriving here at the Mestalla, it's not an easy stadium. They are playing against a team that is well drilled by Ruben Baraja. They haven't changed much, so they know what they have to do, and we saw in the first 45. But I think we have to talk that Barcelona wasn't ready to face that intensity in the first half. Very slow, no using the space that they needed to use. And well, we saw the MVP of the game frustrated at some point. So in the end, he was about to try to score to get that first goal. It was Valencia.
Well, Hansi Flick will be thrilled to bits. First game of the season. A lot of the players are not fully fit, fully wound up yet. Difficult away game. Very warm evening. They've gone away with 3 points. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and we obviously saw Balde coming off injured there. Just something else for Barcelona to be thinking about with the situation they are in at the moment. Now, we are not alone here at Mestalla. As you will know, in the commentary booth we have Ian Darke and Stewart Robson. And pitch side we also have had Alexis Nunes and Sid Lowe. Need to send it down to our pitch side team to get their observations from the side of the pitch on what stood out to you guys, Alexis.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a spicy first half, the way how it started. We thought Valencia were really onto something there, but then, of course, Barcelona with the perfect response after going down 1-0, Sid.
Yeah, and I think what we saw was a Valencia side who had their moments, and they had their moments, and had they taken up the chances that they got, particularly that second one just before half-time, which would have made it 2-0 at that point, I think maybe we're looking at a different game. But I was listening to Steve there, I completely agree with that feeling once Barcelona put themselves into the lead, and maybe even slightly earlier than the moment in which they actually go into the lead. Once they're at 1-1, they started to take control of the game, and Valencia just had no response. They have very, very little in reserve. They're a team that have to play, and Ruben Baraja was saying this pre-game, at 120%, they have to be very, very aggressive to have a chance. And if they don't do that, and when they start to run out of steam, and they look like a really tired team towards the end as well, with players out of position, turning into traffic all the time.
The fans are getting on their case.
They just didn't have a response, and I thought Barcelona actually managed the second half really well. I don't think it's entirely coincidental that Barcelona were better in terms of controlling the game once Pedri was on the pitch as well.
Well, there's a man just a few feet away from us, and that happens to be Robert Lewandowski. As Darke pointed out, he's going to turn 36 years old this week. We were comparing the Lewandowski that we saw last season under Xavi to what we could probably see under Hansi Flick. It's going to be hard to replicate the Lewy that we saw under Hansi Flick at Bayern, but what did you think of his job today?
Oh, he scored 2 goals. And you know, you look back at what Lewandowski's done in the 2 seasons at Barcelona, and in terms of the numbers, it's really very, very, very good indeed. You know, he's up at 60 goals now. He scores a lot of goals, but he doesn't have the energy. And I think what we're going to see with Hansi Flick is an attempt to disguise that, or at least to make it not matter as much, because you're not going to get, in terms of the fitness, the pace, the aggression, the ability to press onto people, you're not going to get that Lewandowski. But you're still going to get a guy that if you give him opportunities, he will score goals.
Well, this is the first competitive match that we have seen Hansi Flick's Barcelona involved in all summer. Even 2 weeks ago, I asked the man himself, like, what is he going to do in terms of marrying the style? Because we know the identity of Barcelona. It's one that not many people want to ever tinker with, because it has made us fall in love with Barcelona's style of football. But Hansi Flick is also known for a nice style of football and a nice style of pressing as well. What did you make of what we could see Hansi Flick's Barcelona looking like?
Honestly, I don't think we've seen a huge amount tonight to tell us that answer. I think we have to be guided more by what we've seen them try to do in pre-season, what we saw them try to do at moments tonight, and what he himself has said. Now, he said the other day, look, I try not to talk about my tactics. I try not to give that kind of thing away. But what he has done is he's talked a lot about the physical condition of the team, about a team that he wants to be a bit more direct, a little bit more aggressive, and basically physically better. And you can see that, by the way, in the change of staff in the summer. 5 members of staff come in, all to do with the physical preparation. A 6th new member of staff comes in, and he's the head of physiotherapy. This is telling us something about one of the things that they think last year, and maybe even the year before, was deficient, and they want to change.
Okay, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, as Sid said, because I remember speaking to Andreas Christensen just 2 weeks ago, and he said that what's changed for them in training is that they have to run so much, and he gets so tired, but it's something that ultimately, as Sid is hinting, could pay off for Barcelona this season.
Thank you so much, guys. Thanks to Alexis and to Sid. Let's hear from our guys in the booth, though. Ian and Robbo had the best vantage point in the house from their commentary position. What stood out to you, Ian?
I think we're going to see a more pacier, dynamic Barcelona under Hansi Flick. That was nothing like the team he's going to be able to put on the pitch in, say, late November when we're round to the Champions League games. The performance I really liked for Barcelona today was probably a player not many people outside of the Barcelona camp really had ever heard of, Marc Casado. I thought that was a really good full La Liga debut, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. He had that one problem in the first half when Almeida went past him too easily and he got to the byline and Almeida couldn't quite pick the pass out. But as the game wore on, his quality of passing, his manipulation of the ball to play little 1-2s around people, his forward runs as well. I thought he looked a very good player. And he should have scored at the end, and that would have been the icing on the cake for him.
We spoke about Lewandowski, didn't we, before the game. He's come up with 2 goals again there. He was slowly into the game, but he's ended up with 2, and he started to look sharper and sharper. So this could be a good thing, him and Flick reunited.
Yep. Like most of the Barcelona players, he got better as the game wore on. Some of his link-up play was much better in that second half. He was switching the play, he knew where the space was, little flicks around the corner. He made good runs. First half he struggled to get involved in it, and that's probably because Barcelona weren't playing particularly well. He's not going to be a player that runs the channels and diving down the outside of people. But there was times in the first half when he tried to break the offside line, and the holding midfield player, Bernal, didn't see it enough. He needed to play balls over the top. And I saw that in the first half. There was a lot of runs that they tried to make in behind, and the ball wasn't played. That's something I think Hansi Flick will try and change.
It's important, isn't it, I think, for La Liga? I mean, bigger picture that Barcelona are good this season. We've got a proper title race that Mbappe and company don't just run away with it, from the top. So I think a successful Barcelona's probably good for everybody.
Absolutely. The one worry I would have is Balde. I think Balde's a superb player, attacking the ball down that left-hand side. He created the first goal with the cross. He got a lot of other crosses into the box. His recovery runs are good. Just wonder what the injury was when he came off. That would be a worry to me for Hansi Flick.
And a word on Valencia?
Not quite good enough. Huff and puff, and they had a little game plan in the first half where they get it wide, and they got Rafa Mir coming from a wide right position to get into the box. He didn't quite get on the end of things. That second chance where they closed the ball down quite well. But once the game started to slip away from them, things I saw last year, they just didn't have enough class. They didn't have enough penetration, and they're going to struggle to score goals, I think.
Yeah, looks like another mid-table year for Valencia, but first impressions can be misleading. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Ian. As you can see, we have got today's goal scorer, Robert Lewandowski, with us, joining us now for a little chat about the game that we did see. Just getting himself mic'd up here. And we're very glad to see that you guys did make it through that sauna of a booth up there as well. But let's get word from Robert Lewandowski today, scoring both of those goals for Barcelona in the 2-1 win. First of all, let's talk about the game. How did you see the first game of the season, Robert?
Oh, I think the first part of the game, the first 20-25 minutes we didn't play well, but we conceded 1 goal. But what more important is that before the first half we score 1 goal, and in the second half I think from the beginning we know that we have to play more with the ball, have this game under control. And we have another option to score the goal, but this stadium for the first play in the season is very difficult to play. But in the end, we have 3 points, and we're working as a team. And I think that especially that we had also a lot of young players on the pitch. So I think this is very important for us.
Robert, I wanted to ask you. Hansi Flick knows you very well. First of all, I would like to congratulate you because the penalty you said you won it right there. It's not easy to put it right there, so we had to say it this way. Very difficult. Hansi Flick knows you very well. You know him very well. Does he ask you something different, specific for this year? Because you mentioned about the young players that you got now. I saw 5, 6 from the academy. And you have to do as well as a mentor. We know that you're going to be one of the leaders this season for the team. But is he asking you about being a mentor for all of them?
Of course, especially in my age, with my experience, I know that I have to also have the focus on the different things. We have so many young players on the pitch with amazing potential. They have a lot of talent, but in the end, on the pitch, we have to know it when we can play faster, when we keep the ball. And of course, my focus is also to give the best, to scoring the goals, but also try to help them different ways. Sometimes it's also not easy for them, also not easy for me, but if we're going in one way, together we can achieve our goals. And I know that sometimes if the oldest player on the pitch talk too much for the young players also, it's like, okay, I know what you mean, but sometimes you have to find this balance, and I'm trying to do it. not every time is easy, but they know to learn, they know to improve. They want they want to do the next step in his career because, oh come on, 60, 70, 18 years old and playing for FC Barcelona on this stadium is like the dream. But I have to keep them on the ground because the season is very long and. That was the first game, but now we have to looking forward and playing even much more better in the next games.
Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations, and well done. Great effort, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Before we do say goodbye to you, Robert, the bad news is he's picked you to win the league, which adds a little curse and some extra pressure. That's got to be the objective, right?
I know in football it's normal if you play under the pressure, so we don't afraid of this. Of course, the young players also they want to win some titles. Of course, this first step is we have to be calm, doing our job and thinking only front of the next game and how to win the next game and be focused always. So I think after the game already we start in preparation for the next game, and this is important. The season is very long and we have to be focused. We have to stay on the ground all season and doing even better than today.
Great start for you and congratulations
Thank
for the
you
win as
much.
well.
Well done.
Thank you.